when we're talking about the disorder, we kind of want intuitively to put it in order. We want to create some order in our brain, in our mind, and in our body, because it's interesting, but the body is connected to the mind, mind affects the body, body affects the mind. Привет! So, this is my second video, and I actually couldn't stop myself from getting out here and filming, because only yesterday I attended a conference. They both are active researchers at universities, and the most inspiring part of all this, we can see the shift, we can see the movement, and we can see quite a rapid movement in treatment, in ideas of managing the disorder. And that's why today's video is called "Why You Shouldn't Battle the Disorder, but rather living with it, adapting to it, and coming to terms with it, in which both of you, let's say the part of you that knows that you have a disorder and the part of you that knows that you are a person like any other person, so these two parts could coexist and there would be no conflict. Because I gotta tell you, bipolar is not like cancer. Bipolar is not something you should think in the beginning to get rid of. Yeah, we don't want cancer in our bodies, we want to battle it, we want to fight it, we want to get rid of it. But when we are born with bipolar, at least with the predisposition of our brain, or predisposal, not sure, when you have this tendency of your brain to have bipolar features, it's like having autism. And nobody says, I've been fighting, I've been battling my autism, or I've been battling, let's say, my diabetes. You live with it, you adapt to it, and the better word would be, you try to live the best life, your best life, with the disorder. It's interesting how bipolar is called the disorder, something out of order, yeah, something that is happening in our brain breaks the order, and we are experiencing symptoms. It could be mania symptoms or depression symptoms. Both can be quite nasty and challenging. Personally, for me, I have euphoric mania and I have no problems with my mania. I mean, before I had problems with managing it. It could go out of hand, like not sleeping for 3 nights in a row. But I've never been hospitalized. I mentioned it before, and because I have bipolar type 2. By the way, a side note here, bipolar 2 can transform, let's say, evolve into bipolar 1 with some conditions, with some circumstances which hopefully will never happen to me or to you if you have bipolar 2. And if you have bipolar 1, probably all I'm talking about and my own experience wouldn't add up to your experience, because for sure bipolar 2 is more manageable. The thing that we don't have psychosis makes us, let's say, worrying less about being not sane, not being able to control your behavior. When people after psychosis say that they don't remember what was happening to them, me, I've never experienced this. That's why what I'm sharing here, my experience, if you are bipolar 1, you should take it with a grain of salt, because I'm convinced in managing my bipolar 2 disorder with minimum medication and maximum awareness, lifestyle, and supplements. I will make a separate video about this conference, which was it was a breakthrough for me, for my own awareness of being and living with this disorder, I realized that not all the doctors would like per se tell you have to be on meds for life. But it's another topic, and today's topic about battling or not battling the disorder. So, when we're talking about the disorder, we kind of want intuitively to put it in order. We want to create some order in our brain, in our mind, and in our body, because it's interesting, but the body is connected to the mind, mind affects the body, body affects the mind. And not for nothing, our digestive system is called like second brain. Why is that? Because bacteria can affect brain, can affect mind, and can affect moods. So why don't we work with our body? By probably fasting, taking supplements, practicing mindfulness, practicing yoga, by meditating. Why don't we try to put our body in order to be able to affect our mind that gets somehow out of control and we can't understand why it happens? So, when we are more in control of our body, would we be more in control of our mind? That's the questions I've been thinking about, and I've been practicing yoga for a year and 2 months already. I've been meditating for almost 3 months, and right now I can tell you that in the current episode of Hypomania, which I feel for sure, I have this watch that tracks my sleep, and last week I got 5 hours of sleep average, and this week I got 6 hours of sleep average. I go to bed about 9 in the evening and I wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning. It's unusual for people who don't have this disorder or some other problem. When I get up at 3, my family finds it crazy, crazy. But I feel well, I have a lot of energy, I'm sure a lot of you could relate. But with this, I start my day with mindfulness. I start my day with meditation, with yoga, listening to some mantras. I notice that listening to mantras somehow help me to ground, to relax, and to stabilize my mood, because when I get up I'm full of energy. I just want to go out there to do a lot of things. I have a bunch of projects. I have 2 YouTube channels. I teach Russian on one of my YouTube channels. Now I have my second channel. I have Instagram. I have my students. I have my son, a teenager who also needs a lot of attention, and it's fun to have a teenage son. And now I practically hear you saying, yeah, we get it, girl, your mania is a bliss and you have no problems managing it and blah blah blah. But what about the crippling depression when you can't get out of bed? And what would you recommend as behavioral thing to manage this condition? And surprise, surprise, I have depressions as well. I have long depressive episodes from 3 to 6 months. It was my longest. And yeah, it's hard to bear, and yeah, I try antidepressants and they don't work. That's why I've decided to put more effort into managing my consciousness and my attitude towards me being depressed. Of course, there is this huge switch between all cheerful and full of energy Katya and this some kind of vegetable lying in bed all the time and not being able sometimes to brush her teeth or to go out, trying to avoid people, avoid any contact, refusing to socialize even with her own family and friends. It's kind of it's just beyond understanding how this cheerful person can turn into this asocial. Actually, with every depression I started to realize that I've been denying myself in this condition, I wouldn't accept myself being numb, not feeling anything, not having any joy and any desire, and moreover, not being able to accomplish anything throughout the day. For me, cooking breakfast counted for nothing, but that's not true, and I decided during my next episode, before I would tell you my next depressive episode would never come, would never begin. That's not true. I realize that it will come, that I will experience it, and now I decided to change my attitude towards myself depressed. I'm gonna let myself rest for straight week. For sure, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna get up and cook breakfast for my son. If I don't feel like brushing my teeth, I'm not gonna do it, or washing my hair. But the most important thing is when I will be able to accomplish one of those things. For example, I get up, I cook breakfast, or I go out for a walk. I'm gonna praise myself. I'm gonna acknowledge the fact that I accomplished something while being depressed. It can be a little thing, but the most important is not beating you up for doing nothing or not being able to accomplish or being... And I'm gonna be kind to myself. I'm gonna tell myself, Katya, you need to recharge your batteries. You've been active for so many months, you've accomplished all these things, and now you need to lay low, you need to rest. And when it gets easier, I noticed that for me it happens in a couple of months, I would try to accomplish more things. Those could be still basic things, that's okay, but you could make a list of things to do composed from very simple things like brush my teeth, drink a glass of water, take my meds, take my supplements, for example. And every time you do some of these things, you just check it and you say to yourself, you've... That's my strategic plan for the next depressive episode. And I'm sure it will make a difference with being only medicated, taking antidepressants, and not working with your mind. I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. Please share it with those who need it, because I would love to spread the information, especially about new researchers, to more people, to get it accessible to as many people as possible. And the video about the conference I was talking about is coming soon. Увидимся! Bye!